The IVF process is incredibly heavy on the heart of the families experiencing it, on the finances of the families who are choosing to undergo that, on the physical bodies of the women and what is involved in going through this process. And then on the flip side of that, or on the other side of that process, to have successfully created embryos and then have to choose their future is a very, very heavy and weighted decision. So I'm trying to cover all aspects of this process so that you as a Called to Love family will understand not just one side of it of, hey, there's embryos available for adoption. This is a great option. I want you to understand the heart and the story behind all of it. So when parents come to a place where they need to choose, our family is complete, or we're going to keep trying with the existing embryos that have been created, they have the choices of the following. They can maintain them in frozen storage and pay an annual storage fee to house their embryos. They can thaw the embryos and basically dispose of them. They can donate the embryos for scientific research, or they can place the embryos with another family for reproductive purposes. For our purposes today, that would be embryo adoption. I'm going to let you sit with that and prayerfully process the weight of what I just shared. In a culture that is heavily influenced by pro-choice, by using the word science to justify certain actions, as Christians, as Christ followers who walk in alignment with God's word that says God is the author of life and he is the perfecter of life in our journey in life. I believe that that is something that, whether this topic is relevant for you today or not, would you pause for a moment and pray for the families that are carrying the weight of these decisions? I would ask that of you. We have become a Called to Love family over the last couple of years, and I have heard enough from many of you to hear your hearts, to know your hearts, and to understand and be confident in the knowledge that you will prayerfully consider what we're talking about today and pray for those families who are walking through it. What is the success rate of embryo adoption? Again, I'm citing from Nightlight's website. It says the most recent data sourced from the CDC indicates an average success rate measured by live births of 42%. The pregnancy success rate of the Snowflakes embryo adoption program specifically was 59% in 2024. Additionally, research studies indicate a higher success rate in achieving pregnancy using frozen embryos compared to non-frozen embryos. It's estimated that the number of children born from frozen embryos likely surpasses 10,000. I don't know about y'all. I had something pop up on my social media even just recently that there were some 30-year-old twins that were recently born. They have literally been housed for over 30 or nearly 30 years, and a pregnancy was just successful and delivery was successful. So these children have been alive for 30 years, but they are in fact newborns. And that is just boggling to the mind in the world that we live in right now. But it is something for us to consider and to wrestle with. What does the process look like for families who maybe you're listening and you're thinking, okay, this is something that I might be interested in. What does the process look like? Well, private agencies and attorneys work with fertility clinics across the country to facilitate matches for interested parties. You are still required, like any adoption process, to go through a home study process and provide that to your agency. And then with all of that information and approval and initial fees paid for the program itself, you are matched with a good option based on your preference list, based on health history, maybe ethnic preferences, all those different things. They take all of that into consideration. Legally, what happens from there is a transfer of property from the placing parents to the adoptive parents for implantation through legal documentation. So embryos are considered property rather than individuals by the standards of the U.S. federal government. So that's also something just to be aware of as you're thinking through the legalities of it. Adoptive mothers who have agreed to and been matched with frozen embryos will undergo frozen embryo transfers, and then their pregnancies will then be monitored through that local fertility clinic throughout the process of the pregnancy. That's a lot of information I'm sharing with you. And I hope that you hear from me. I'm sharing information, I'm sharing insight to cause you to consider. I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other. Let's talk about really quickly the benefits of considering embryo adoption.